Here's my zest kill with difficulty +4, scale for party of 3, while still in budget version. Maybe I kill him faster now. And one more time, just in party of 2. It has to be without a doubt the best build by far in the game, since no matter what gear you have, you will be doing well. In the budget version, I already did a solo. Every single fucking boss in the game, the pinnacle, solo was an instant kill, and only gear holds you back from getting even more damage. So, you can start with basically any gear, and the better you go, the more damage you have. Basically at that point, going above the budget mode, this is just literally to insta-kill the bosses with more party members by doing it fully solo. And what I mean by that is just the general idea what we're looking for on the gear. So for the wand, for example, we go for the most possible lightning spell skills, with 5 being max on level 81 wand, and as much crit chance and crit spell damage as we can. And same goes for the mana, spell damage, extra lightning is the only extra we can go for, or just the lightning damage. The more, the better, all up completely to your budget. For the gloves, before you're like level 80, 85 maybe, you want Maligaros, because how easy it is to get the crit damage 300 on them, and you can go full for crit chance, because no matter what you do with your crit damage, it will be 300, so you can get the crit chance with minus crit damage, and then swap it later on if you get better gloves. For the boots, you will only need the 35 movement speed, some mana, and basically you wanna some int, and finish all your resistances that you will be lacking, perhaps. If you won't be lacking them, which is very questionable if you will not, but yeah, all you need is mana, intelligence, movement speed. On the rings, fat mana, fattest mana, intelligence, resistances, because ingenuity will help you cap them out up, and lightning damage. Preferably, if you have the resistances, you would like rarity, and rarity instead is physical damage to attacks, but you know, what can you really wish for when you are dependent on RNG on the rings? So this looking quite close to what we want. Expect that I only have 1-time rarity, so only on the suffix. I encourage you to drop your ingenuity belt on your own, because you anyway need passive skill ranks, but in terms of the mana potion, Simulacrum is really hard. So this potion is worth every goddamn divine in the game. Trust me, it's such a game changer that you should like do the budget till you save up for this potion. It's just too much change. It is worth every divine, and you should go and like drop everything you want to buy and save up for this. This is basically what I did, and I don't regret nothing. It was the best upgrade I ever had in this game for this build. This potion alone. The helmet is obvious, you want as much energy shield as possible, some mana perhaps. Critical chance would be perfect. I got it. This was such a lucky buy. I paid basically nothing for it. I had 100 more energy shield on my previous helm, but like 40 less mana. But the 30 critical hit chance and chaos res with lightning res, beautiful item. So once you have enough gear to drop your everlasting gaze, what you want is amulet, depending with spirit. Depends if you have 60 on your body armor, with mana percentage. Mana maximum with at least like 100 before you increase it with the modifiers, but I'd prefer some more. Maximum energy shield, aka mana percentage or the number, but preferably lightning damage looks really nice. 2 or 3 to all spell skills or projectile skills. Just I'm telling you right now, 3. And having everything else is just a fucking fortune. Critical damage bonus, critical chance, whatever you can get it with. Like, we cannot be, you know, just create the item we want. So wherever you can grab, this is what you grab. But main thing here, spell skills, projectiles, doesn't matter. Just 2 or 3 to projectile or spell skills. The mana, the percentage, and the maximum. And the rest, what you can get. What you can get, what I mean, look my wand. You can easily get 100 crit hit chance on it, just gotta be lucky. So either be lucky or be rich in divines, I don't know. But you can get way more crit hit chance, but what I could grab is this one, and that's what I instantly grabbed when I saw it. How did I get divines for this, you ask? Well, I randomly corrupted the diamond, this one, and it gave me massive but it gave me very low debuffs for it, so I sold it for like 20, 30, something like that. Not much. I wanted Divine's Ace up to grab the one upgrade. So yeah, this is what you call pure ass luck. And for an example, I had this one before. Let's see, that is 212 versus 230 upgrade. So oh yeah, just grab whatever you can, and that's like whatever's the best. For body armor, as much energy shield as you can, intelligence, preferably resistances instead the bullshit I have, but it is what it is, and spirit, you need 60. If you have 60, you're home. I have 55 plus 15 from this, so I can also use clarity, but constant shock and archmage is the most important. For the focus, it's energy shield, spell damage, lightning damage, maximum mana, spell skills, crit chance, and intelligence. All of these as much as you can, with like the most important, of course, energy shield aka mana, spell damage, lightning damage, spell skills, critical hit chance. You can pass on the intelligence for maybe like critical damage bonus or some resistances, but if you can go, lean into full damage. Our off weapon is of course Chiming Staff with Sigil of Power, and all that matters on this one though is just all spell skills up to 6, so preferably 6, or however much you can get depending on your luck or the budget. Belt is of course, as I said before, ingenuity. If you don't have, you use any that fills your resistances or whatever. It's a temporal shit. The go-to is always gonna be ingenuity without even like anything coming close, so not much to say. Try to get ingenuity ASAP, but try it yourself. If you didn't get it in 4 goes, well, unlucky, gotta buy or keep doing the kinginthemists, up to you. So that's pretty much it. All you can mention is charms. I use the freeze one, you can use the stun one. Other ones I don't think are worth it much. And for health potion, normal one or the epic one, doesn't matter really, like whatever. The biggest whatever, this is your HP, this is your everything. The ascendancy points are quite not flexible, so set in stone. We go for this, double shock, just beautiful, beautiful, powerful, broken. And of course exposure, additional 20% because it adds up to its base, so instead of counting it 20 plus 20%, we get 40 plus every other amplifier you can get, which is just an insane increase. Before we go into the skills and super gems, it's very important for me to mention that the Anoint on your amulet is wherever you really want. If you want the topmost damage, it's gonna be lightning rod, unless somehow you have gear beyond godly and you reach 100% crit for spark. But it's very unlikely, so I use mental toughness myself. It's just reduced mana cost, so I don't really have any extra damage from my Anoint, but I could get some. I just got really used to mental toughness, it's pretty cheap, and I don't really see at the moment any need of getting any more damage, even though since I recorded the previous part of the video I already managed to get some upgrade, because yeah, I really wanted to have it mentioned in that video because we're doing one little swap of skills. That swap would be Mana Tempest is going out for Soul Offering, and basically I'm really disappointed how weak our Mana Tempest is compared to the Soul Offering, because I had to make changes. That's really annoying always, but yeah, that's quite different. But there is an upgrade that's literally an overkill, and only you should go for it if you really wanna just flex on your friends by soloing the boss in party bigger than 3 men, and that's some extra spirit stack for like a 200 together, just solely for the soul offering. And for this to be enabled you need skeletal cleric, which requires 20 spirit per skeleton, and you can offer 2 of them for a huge damage increase, which for some reason is much more than our own Mana Tempest, which only puts our spark to 243 from 210, and soul offering is literally putting it to 347. Which is quite stupid if you ask me, because our own ability that drains piss out of mana and makes us go in an instant is much less than just a stupid soul offering. Although putting them together gives you already a 658k DPS, but in my opinion completely not worth to use Mana Tempest. Too little gain for too much in exchange. The numbers you already see are without spell skill ranks that we can still acquire, and this is literally the difference between one skill point. From 188 to 210, and we can still get +3 to all spark skills from Prism of Belief Diamond, +1 from Amulet with higher roll than 2 of all spell skills or projectiles. It can go up to 3 of them. Question is if your budget allows you to pay a 300 plus divine orbs cost for just the diamond itself. Or for an example, if you're lucky enough to corrupt your wand, it can give you +1 to all lightning spells, boosting even further your damage on spark via the spell skill ranks. And you can corrupt your skill gem for another +1 from corruption. And as before we go on to the skills, I want to mention that I don't have a single cast speed item on my equipment because I don't think it's that needed. I think it's a fake cast damage increase for your tooltip. So if you use the same gear as I do, but you had like 25 cast speed somewhere, your DPS would be like 300k. A single 3% skill speed node is 7k DPS. Does it increase your damage? No, it just increases how fast you spam your spark. But it's not needed, like your passive with mana stacked from our Stormweaver node for arcane surge increase is enough. I don't have any cast speed other than this, of course, for the support gem, and my cast speed on spark is 2.2, and I think it's completely enough. I just saw people with average damage per use on like 20k with cast speed 5 and the same DPS, but its average damage per use is 20k. Like you wanna own yourself or you wanna do damage. But of course, if you have enough resistances and you have ingenuity with a ring with 25 cast speed, it won't really hurt you, because like what else you can really get other than intelligence? You can get dexterity, so your passive points will be in some extra intelligence, like dexterity will just translate to more int, but if you have resistances already without a ring, getting the cast speed on the ring will not hurt you for sure, so it's not like a need to change your cast speed or anything. So like if you have damage and good average per use, the cast speed will not hurt you, don't take it wrong. Remember that the gear will always play a big role in games like PoE2, so if you completely have like level 70 and completely no budget, go to my budget version of the build. You can literally use the same talents and everything other than the critical damage bonus passive nodes if you're using Maligaros, which are in the budget build. Other than this, everything is same. And one last thing before we go about the skills, if you have ring like this, you can use it to retain your mana tempest with your soul offering, because this will give you one extra slot for that mana tempest. But I'm not using this because I just think like it literally just makes me go means out of mana, so that means I have no HP, no nothing, and yeah, restoring mana values are quite broken for the build. So let's start with the first skill, Sigil of Power from our weapon set 2 from the staff. Gives us damage when we stand in the effect, aka straight up for bosses or something that you know you will be stationary. It just, no matter what you put in it, to be fair, I just like to have the stun threshold here, the cooldown recovery rate, but you could swap it somewhere else if you really need to, and the area of effect, which is same, you can just swap wherever you want. It doesn't really need any support gems. And for spark, I have considered casting, that's why I have cast speed, because even though we don't need cast speed because we get it from the Stormweaver node, we still want some cast speed because we want to be over 2 seconds. So if I remove this, I'm under, gives me a lot because of the considered casting. And considered casting is a 40% damage increase, which doesn't work really anymore when I put it into custom shock lightning conduit. That's why it's here. Supported skills have 40 less cost, so we can spam it. It's pretty cheap for me. So remember, I have another mana reduction on my Anoint. And of course we go for Pierce always. Pierce is the best way to make spark kind of AoE. No chaining, no knotting, no forking, this is the best. Basically on the mapping, spark is the only thing you really have to use. Just walk, tap cast it, don't hold it so you're faster, and that's literally all. You don't need any other skill outside of a boss to kill the boss instantly, like mobs will just flop to it. Next up we have Orb of Storm with all kinds of debuffs applied to it, aka magnitude of shock, chance to shock, lightning exposure, and strip away to make exposure stronger, and we use overabundance so we can have 2 of them. Casting into them will discharge them faster, so all the debuffs are amplified and applied by the Orb of Storm way faster. It rapes the duration in half, so remember to have it up all the time. Like for bosses, they need to like just be there for 2 seconds and the boss is dead. And cast on shock, which will have some explains here, but first of all we put 2 lightning conduits in, inevitable critical, elemental focus, and super critical. And let's start answering the most frequently asked questions. Why 2 lightning conduits? Because they hit themselves when you upgrade the skill gem. You have 20 chance on consuming that shock, that increases their damage, to reapply it. That's why it's already very good to have 2 of them. Second of all, we have a passive that gives us another 25 to do the reapply thing. Therefore, it's just amazing to have, like, this is the biggest boss slapper, so just have it double. Trust me, you don't want it to charge too fast because of our inevitable critical. Next up are two skills we have to cover. One is the persistent skeletal cleric. You need 2 of them. 3 of them is what's preferred because you're always gonna be able to cast it one more time, but I have spirit enough only for 2 of them. And soul offering. These guys have last gasp, it doesn't really change that much, but soul offering, we need dance macabre and ablation as the most 2 important. Then we go for the minion skills, font of mana and persistence, which was before in sigil of power. So with the help of the other ring, I'm gonna one more time show you the difference between Mana Tempest and Soul Offering. Mana Tempest from 216 to 250 damage increase. Soul Offering, I think the numbers just speak for themselves, the difference. Next up is Archmage, which is the most obvious, never take away, always have it. It's the most damage gain for us, no matter what. 220, disable the Archmage, mere 47. This is the most important core part of all the Stormweaver builds. This just gives you a ton of damage and it literally allows you to kill stuff by using like Eye of the Winter because of how much lightning, like in reality this is more of a lightning ability at that point than it is cold ability. It has up to 280 cold damage versus up to 2.6k lightning damage just because Archmage. It's broken, we use Archmage always, it's the biggest possible damage gain. If you have enough spirit you can use Clarity support gem. Next up is Conductivity, our curse debuff. What I use on it is stronger curse support gem, the one that makes it effect on the ground, since the bosses when they spawn they will stay in it, so I don't have to like aim it in time, I just put it on the ground and wait. Then we have Spell Echo, just to apply the Burning Inscriptions, just to have more debuffs, but I'm not using the passive that I used before that increases the damage per the debuff on the target, but maybe I will. I just don't really see a need to change it, and we have Ritualistic Curse just to get the AoE increase on it. But what's more important here is to follow the passives for weapon set 2, because that's how we're using the curse, to have 100 cursed ground effect increase, because with current ranks it's counted up. 38 plus 100 is 76, which is where I want to land on, because our exposure effect is on 74. So first you remove all the resistance, then you put them into minus 75 at all times, every single time, so perfect. And Voltaic Mark, which gives us quite the amplify to our chance to shock and the magnitude of our shock, which is just mandatory. It gives so much increase to our magnitude, you cannot really change it. This is also a reason why I keep some dexterity after swapping Maligaros. Instead of swapping it to like 20, I still keep passives to get some dexterity just to be able to use the lowest level of Voltaic Mark, which is 7. And that's all you need. Level 7 Voltaic Mark. It doesn't really increase the effect out of only the damage on the Nova part of it, so it's whatever. So only 52 dexterity is required, and what's important is just the quality, the gem to 20%. Next up is our biggest crit chance gain, Eye of the Winter, and we need Unleash on it, it's the most important. I have some Ricochet here, some Glaciation and Cold Mass, but that's all wherever. Unleash is important. You throw this, 10 stack, adds up to base critical strike chance, aka we're gonna have like Lightning Conduit on 20%, and it's just godly because it adds to the base crit chance. It is the most important. And if you wanna retain your Mana Tempest with the ring for additional skill slot, well, Premeditation is all you're gonna be using on it because of the mana cost increase if you use even the cooling one. Now, about our Lightning Conduit, cause we want it always to crit on the boss, aka when we have all the debuffs, critical weakness. That means with our super critical that gives 20 less critical hit chance, aka the final critical strike chance you would have, that's minus 20. So what we need is the final critical strike chance to be on 125%, including our Eye of the Winter. It helps us a lot to have inevitable critical, because it will slowly give us another 100. So instead of the 525 out of gear and passives, because of the inevitable critical, we will only need 425% critical hit chance only, yeah? So on the tooltip here, what you need to be seeing is 50% critical hit chance, because our Eye of the Winter will add another 10 to base, and without the super critical, we will be having 63. So I'm actually on the amount of crit we need, which makes me happy. I didn't even realize that before. So if you would be only focusing on damage you gain on the boss, instead of Lightning Rod, since the Conduit will crit always, the another Anoint option would be, where is it? Here. 20 crit hit chance against shocked enemies, but 40 increased magnitude of shock. I can't really think of any other one, but if you know about any like flat damage increase, or even actually we could have played with where is it? The triggered spells deal 45 increased spell damage. But honestly, just play with the mana cost reduction. The damage is far enough. Like, trust me, this is the last thing you're gonna worry about. Damage. And especially if you do not have the unique flask to restore all your 6k or more mana, well, that's when the mana cost reduction really comes in handy. And trust me, I see people coming to when I stream with gears that are beyond my mind, how much gear people have on them. So when you see my gear, imagine that I'm constantly getting surprised by people coming to my stream showing their gear and asking like why their DPS is only on 70k. So that's gonna be the guide for all of these guys. Hopefully it will help. But now, time for some passives. I will have that on Mobalytics, but I just re-engineered my whole tree to literally save every single possible point of passives. So I have the mana potion, yeah? Let's start with it. So my mana regen nodes, I don't need them anymore. This potion is so broken with the amount of mana I have that I just went straight here to get ace up here. Grab on the way some crit. I also still go for this because it's just literally 2 points to get 5% mana. All in for it. I got drop down here, mana regen and magnitude of shock. Very important. It's just 1 point down here and 4 points to get so much magnitude and mana regen. Can't pass on this. And here, depending on your hit chance, you go either the critical damage bonus way and end it with the 25 node. Or if you have enough crit chance, you go crit damage, of course. Then we go here, drop down here, and against the darkness time lost, I only have it for mana. The fire damage is pretty irrelevant for me, but this is the best cluster that I could think of that would give me some benefit out of against the darkness. Crit chance, crit damage, damage when you crit, just perfect. I don't have one node that will come with the level. But I don't have one node that's in the range, but that's whatever. I have enough crit chance. And this one we won't be picking. Only this one. 30 damage increase and 12 crit chance. And all in the range. Really, that's the only important thing here. We go up here. Grab the jewel. Go here. So we have the pathways. And here, we grab the jewel and weapon set 2 for the curse. Weapon set 2 for the curse. We go up here. Eldritch, Arcane Intensity, Raw Mana. We don't pick Mana Regen unless you have to. But I went the other way, so I can easily connect Weapon set 2 and save all the possible skill points so I can have the skill duration. I lean towards duration more than the range of the size of the AoE effects. So the duration is most important for me. That's why I went like this. Even though I have Metamorphosis and I saw people using Massive, for me the Massive is just shitty idea. Fuck that node. It gives you piece load of DPS and that's it. That's just not real damage. That literally, people what they sacrifice, they get 8 attack speed and 14 lightning damage and they sacrifice and they pick the Massive just to pick this, and they sacrifice 12 damage. I don't understand. I just cannot fathom it. Because what I do is use medium large. I pick what I wouldn't go here, because penetration is useless, because of how much curse we have. So if you put target into negatives, your penetration is completely useless. So I only pick this one for 25 increased exposure effect, and it ranges into another 30 exposure, and I can pick another 10 exposure effect, and that's like whatever node. But I think this also is possible to be picked, so you can get from that cluster so much exposure. You pick this exposure as well, and the only time I think lightning resistance is good, the penetration of it, is when you have a little bit on the mobs on the maps, so they always get some less lightning resistance whenever something touches them. But going here, those 2 points, nah. The only way is the Metamorphosis Diamond. This is also how I cap my fire resist. It's not that big debuff from it, but still 8 extra fire since I already got the Against Darkness. I was like, why not? Let's get some extra fire damage and some fire resistance. Also, this critical spell damage bonus, critical hit chance, same case as the other one, depending if you need some more hit chance, crit hit chance. Later on, I'm gonna pick those two. For now, I really can't, but I have 2 levels now. And that current level right now that I put somewhere else is dedicated to this. And the next level I'm picking this. 25 int, why not? I have dexterity here to fill for the voltaic mark, but I do not pick anything. What I want to get is this jewel slot and this jewel slot, and of course MOM. And the way I do it, I connect via this. I don't use this. I don't need any more cast speed nor mana regen. This unique potion is just broken, so yeah, I don't pick it, saving passives. The jewel, and this, don't pick this, because here we have to go to connect here, so flat elemental damage to pick those 2 big nodes. Those are great, I don't know why people skipping them. This is just 40 damage increase and 20 crit hit chance. This is 30 magnitude of non-damaging ailments, aka our shock, for like 1 point here. And this is 5 elemental resistances, all of them, and 30 elemental damage. I don't understand why someone wouldn't pick it, because from here we go for extra skill duration on the weapon set 2. And from here, all the way down here to the jewel slot, we pick this intelligent node and weapon set 1. Magnitude, piece load of magnitude of shock. Beautiful. Some mana regen again. Beautiful. And that's just really 4 points, because we will have to go here anyway. Pick this with weapon set 2, which is crazy, maximum lightning damage. Reapplying the shock, as I said before, for lightning conduit. This big cluster for 60 crit damage, minus 20 crit hit chance, but we have the same, the other version of it, just reversed. So that's what we pick on the way, weapon set 2. And that's pretty much all that goes for the passives. This is just enough, that's why we don't need that cluster for it. This, very important for the exposure. I know that people love this, but it's just a big disappointment, so don't play the Elemental Storm. What you can do, depending what level you are, you can a bit fix up to your current level, like just put temporary passives if you need to. But for me, this is how it looks like now. It's all temporal, because the next level I'm going back to crit hit chance, I'm losing some crit damage to pick the int. Or maybe not. I will see how my gear will be looking. But everything is very important to be based off of what gear you currently have and just possibly feel some stuff. But let's go over what I have on those jewels. Lots of crit damage, magnitude of shock, spell damage, crit hit chance, crit damage, magnitude, triggered spells. And that's pretty much a common theme. The only thing is, I landed my hands on 5 increased effect of your curses, which is just what I need to reach the 100%. And this is 1 dead stat, 1 dead stat. Like, I can't really tell you how much I wish I had increased skill duration instead of the area effect of the faster energy shield recharge, since I don't even have the energy shield. But yeah, those are very expensive. You want them the way you want them. I did a quick bridge to explain all of you guys how do you exactly do the damage. So I wanna clear my custom shock percentage. I put here Sigil of Power and I start spending mana so I can like stack up these stacks that we get max 4 of them to max out the damage possibility from it. Now I sacrifice my thingies and I press Eye of the Winter with Voltaic Mark. And he just flops the moment I get 100 on the custom shock. He gets like killed a couple of times probably here. Just take a closer look how much damage he took before I even casted my spark. I literally casted my spark the moment he was dead. I just wanna quickly mention, if you wanna play this amulet, feel free to. Just look on the baseline damage after buffs, after the greater lightning bolt version of it. Just look at the damage the moment I equip it. It's insane. Best possibilities on it, lightning mastery and considered casting. That gives us 507k DPS without much else. But the moment we just put the simple offering, it's already at 956. So if we just stack the sigil, it simply and easily goes all above like what you would expect of it. Let's quickly do one of the type of waystones that I do all the time, which is tier 15 or 16 in this case. And it has some delirium on it, some quantity, some rarity, and the map is map boss with ritual. So monster level 81 with possibility 25% to corrupt to 82. And let's see how the build can perform. on a map. I don't change anything away from what I used on the boss. Everything's the same. And basically the way we do any map is just move forward by tapping the spark. And that's pretty much all. And I always start with a dead end. So pardon for that. We can sacrifice the mobs on the way, but I just wanna have like a free cast all the time. We just ignore everything. If our mana drops, we press the flask so it's full again. How many dead ends I'm gonna hit whenever I record? It's like probably every single dead end possible. It's gonna be like pressed. Remember, the stun build up is kinda crazy, so if you get locked up, that's the way you can die easily. Don't get locked up. And like whenever you do ritual, you can put all your bullshit on the ground. It lasts long since we having the skill duration on the weapon set too. And just keep the Orb of Storm down, so it auto kills enemies and you don't have to aim. And that's how you get your ritual done. What? Oh, fuck the ultimatum. Precast always, so you're safe. Walk forward, tapping it so you're not slowed by holding down the button. Sacrifice mobs, put Orb of Storm down so they are auto zapped. Spam spark till the ritual is completed. Eventually dodge some like chaos plants or something when needed, of course. Oh, what is this? I'm not Elon, sorry, I have to pick. I'm a loot goblin, so I have to pick it. Forward. We check in ritual always on the last one. Like if we die, we just suck. What can you do? We lose all of it. Orb of Storm on the ground. It's really powerful. Don't underestimate the power of Orb of Storm. It has the high ground. So what I wanna say by this is, of course, I meme a bit, but whenever something's on elevation and you cannot hit it, reach it with spark, this is where it comes really handy to have Orb of Storm. And we have the stun threshold increased on our... oh, this is the chaos thingy, I like it. We have increased a lot of the stun threshold from the support gem on our sigil, so it's really nice to put it on the rituals. Man, the shrine with chaos is... I love that one. Look at that, they just so lovely disappear. Oh my, look how much the stun threshold can fuck us up. Like, one mob is able to lock us down. It's insane. Constant walking forwards, tapping. Anything that can stun lock you is dead already, so this is like a safety pick, you know? Whenever you get locked up, you have so much mana that you can press escape and just exit if you're this type of a guy. I sadly rarely do it, so I lost a lot of XP, but I could. But I always forget about this being a thing. I really don't like that it's a thing. But as you can see, this mana potion is kind of a cheat through the game. We have the last ritual before the boss here. Look, everything this stun locks us. But one mana press on the potion and we are fine. Let's wait for our sacrifice. Put the curse again. Double Orb of Storm. And spam cast again. You want everything to be auto-zapped by the Orb of Storm, so you're completely safe. Very simple. And now we go to the boss. Let's see if we can take down the map boss. Did it corrupt? No, 81. And same stuff on the map boss, honestly. You put this, precast for mana spent. Hello, you aggro? We lost our offering, but as you can see, the map bosses are nothing to this build. So that would be all of it. I think like you can get way better gear than I do have. You can have worse gear, it will still work. Just if you have low level and you don't have much gear with critical damage, use Maligaros so you get that quick boost to 30 and only use critical chance notes. Especially this one with Maligaros, it's amazing because even if it removes your crit a bit, the Maligaros will set them to 300, so no matter what, 300 with Maligaros. And I hope you enjoyed that one. That's the most updated, most relevant one. I'm gonna give you Mobalytics in description as well. So if you did enjoy, leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, see you on the next one.